we are going to start in a butterfly. So come to sit up on something. I'll sit on my bolster for funsies. You can sit on a blanket, you can sit on a bolster. Feet together, knees apart, and actually set it up towards the front of your mat because we're going to swing it back to pigeon right after. So sitting at the top of your mat, feet together, knees apart. Have anything you would want in front of you once we fold it forward to be in front of you, whether it's blankets or blocks, I mean. And before we fold it forward, just sit nice and tall. Make sure your feet are like a foot away from your own pelvic bowl. So they're not like in your groin, or there's some space there. And then you can hold your legs, you can hold your belly, you can put a hand to the heart, just somewhere make contact with your body. Feel the inhales lift you up through the front line, from pubic bone to navel to sternum, through the throat and up the crown of your head. And let your exhales descend down the back of your skull, your neck, and your spine, pulling below you, grounding you back into the earth. Just easy inhales and exhales dropping into this space. And if there's any place that you can feel tension, whether it's right in like your shoulder or in the capacity to take a deep breath, put your brain in that place and try to breathe from there. You can even put yourself, like a little miniature version of yourself, inside of it and say relax or surrender and feel it soften. And then either keeping your eyes closed or blinking them open just a little bit, start to walk your arms forward any amount, coming forward into this butterfly. You can bring down your elbows. You can put your elbows on something and hold your head in your hands like this. Or you can build the blocks up to hold your own head. But it is nice to bring the weight of your head down on something. And start somewhere that's not your deepest place. So maybe the block is on a high height, or you have two blocks, or you're not leaning forward all the way down. Start somewhere for the first minute or so, and then we'll continue it. And again, just following your breaths in and out through the nose, filling your belly up with air on the inhale, feeling it rise to the rib cage and even including the lungs in your back. And then everything deflating towards the spine on your exhale.
And after we've been here now for a little while, if you want to bring your head down further or just make this pose any amount deeper, you can. It might just mean bringing your block down one level. You'll know if it feels right. If your head just feels like it's digging into whatever it's on, if it feels too heavy, then maybe lower it down. But if you do lower it down, it's too much for your hips, find some middle line, middle ground. Slow down the breathing. Ten more breaths here. Last 3 breaths. One more inhale and exhale. Blinking the eyes open, slowly, gradually lift your head, looking forward out in front of you, and walk your hands back. And then arms by your sides, close your knees like a book. Ooh. And plant your feet to the floor. And have the feet be hips distance so you can separate them. Yeah. And then hold on to your own ankles or shins just somewhere below your knees. Pull the knees or shins in close to you and tip your pubic bone forward just to really sit up tall and feel a minor compression in your hip creases. So this is just a counter pose. So you're really sitting rooted into your perineum. You're plugged into the floor or whatever you're sitting on. The pubic bone is tipping forward. Your sits bones are grounded into the mat. Your spine is nice and tall. No longer rounding forward. Your hips, the hip flexors are softening versus stretching. And then let that go. Good. You're going to come into pigeon on your right. So bring your right knee into that half butterfly again. And if you're sitting on something that you want to use for your pigeon, you can stay. I'm going to move the bolster out of the way and take a blanket instead for pigeon and swing your left leg back behind you. So left leg back. I'm picking my hips up to put the blanket underneath the pelvis in order to let both sides of my pelvis be level. Yeah, it's good to have your hips make contact with either the floor or something underneath it to bring the floor up to you. Yeah. Ryan, is that blanket under your knee because your knee hurts? No, don't put it under your knee. Put it under your hips. Good. Some people do that. Some people have pain in the knee, so they put something under the knee, but there's other options. So if you don't have anything thicker to put under your pelvis, just, you don't have to. We're going to put some, you can put a block under your pelvis if you want. Otherwise, you can use blocks in front of you. I like to put one in the middle of the chest, long ways like this, like right in between the sternum, and then one for the forehead. And then you can come down. Yeah, exactly. Make sure that if you feel like you're holding yourself up in any way, can you help yourself out? Can you put something underneath that area to bring the floor up to you to release it, so you're not using arm strength? You're not shrugging your shoulders. If your shoulders feel really shrugged, widen the elbows. But relieving the pressure by putting your head and chest and hips on something will really make this pose be a sustainable place to be for a few minutes. And now again, following your breath in and out of the nose. Imagine this time that the inhales rise up the back. So from the back of your foot, back of your leg, up the glutes and up your spine to the crown of your head. That's your inhale, ascending. Now the exhale descends down the slope of your nose, your whole face, chin and neck, your chest, all following the curves of your body down into your toes. So the inhale ascends like fire rising up the back. And the exhales rain down the front line like water. Ten breaths here. Last 3. One more breath in and out. Again, blink the eyes open first. Start to look forward. Walk the hands back. Lift your chest upright. If you have something underneath you, slide it out. So push down through your shin, lift your hips and slide it out. And then you're going to lean onto your right butt, bend the left knee, and tuck your left knee
into the sole of your right foot. So from an aerial view, don't do this, but from an aerial view, your legs are like this. Yeah, that was fun for me. So you're sitting in this like pinwheel shape. Exactly, you've got it. And then we're not here long. This is just a transition. Bring your hands down by your sides, and most likely you're sitting in your right hip, right? Your left hip is either completely off the ground or very light. All you're going to do is sit tall and try to root your left butt down more. So you not so much lean to the left where your whole body is turned left, but a little bit lean to the left. And you feel this from your whole left outer glute, IT band, left inner knee a little bit, in your groin maybe. It's subtle, but it might be intense for some of you who need to stretch that area and can't figure out quite how to. One more breath. Good. And then lean to the right side again. Unfold your left leg out wide and come to sit back a little bit into this half dragonfly. So your right knee is still bent and your left leg is straight. Yeah. And now I'm going to grab the blanket again because this is another pose that feels good to sit up on something. Just to tip forward again, sit up nice and tall. Yeah. And then have something for your left leg, whether it's a block inside of the leg or a bolster on top of the leg. I have found that on my left side in particular, my knee hurts when I do this. Like I overstretch it and the bottom of the knee kind of like trampolines to the floor and then it hurts afterwards. So I'm going to put something under my knee. I'm going to put a block under my knee because I want to make sure that it doesn't do that. So I'm just doing that if you're wondering what the heck that is about. But if you're a person like that, you can do too. So something inside of your leg or on top of your leg and maybe even under your leg. And then turn towards the right. So you're almost twisting to the right. And then reach your left arm inside of your leg. If you have the bolster or something like it, you're going to bring your left elbow on the bolster. If you have a block, you're going to bring your left elbow on the block. Exactly, Jenna. And then hold your head in your hand. And your right hand can do a couple of things. So your right hand can either root your right butt down. Your right hand can half bind pretty lazily. You can even tuck it into the back of your pants in a half bind. Or you can actually actively reach your right arm over your ear or even bend the right elbow and hold the head in both hands. So maybe you do one thing for the first minute and one thing for the rest with the arm. I'm going to I don't always do this, but I'm going to take the right arm over my ear just because it's feeling really good to get the stretch in the right side body. I have both elbows bent. The right hand is just kind of in midair in my head. If you want to change what your arm is doing for the next minute and a half, you can. Maybe make it a little more passive or a little more active.
Maybe lower your head down more. Five long breaths. One more breath in and out. Keep the eyes open. Take your right hand to your right thigh. If your left hand is on your head, keep it there. And then push your right hand down into your right leg. Push your left hand up into your head and sit up. Ooh. Good. Turn to face the front. Move any blocks or bolsters that were out of the way. If you're on your blanket, you can keep it nearby. And then extend your right leg out in front of you as well. Feet forward, just shake them out. You can have a little bend to the knees. Just sitting nice and tall. And then we're going to come into pigeon on the left. So bend the left knee. Swing your right leg around. Use anything you want under your pelvis to make sure that both hips touch the floor or something under you. Your knee is all the way to the left. Your right leg is straight out from behind the right hip. And then gather the props you want for your head and chest, or armpits, or any scaffolding you want for the upper body. And then, as you're ready, go forward. Taking the time and effort to set yourself up well so that you don't feel like you have to do too much in this pose, even if you are super tight and this is stretching and giving you a lot of sensation. You feel supported. You feel like you can stay with it. And if that's not the case, let me know and I can help you put more stuff with you. If the shoulders shrug, widen the elbows. If you're really weight bearing in the arms, try putting something under your head and chest. And then where else can you surrender? Maybe in the jaw. The inhale rising up the back body like fire. The exhale raining down the front line, water. Finding the steam that releases from the marriage of both the yang energy of the fire rising and the yin cooling rain down, creating the steam. Not in like actual temperature, not trying to make you steamy and hot and sweat. It's esoteric. It's more thoughtful than that. You can think of the steam as energy sparking around you. But if you are feeling hot, that's normal too, because this pose, getting you in the hips, sometimes releases a lot of heat. So I'm not telling you what to feel. You can feel any one of these things, maybe none of them. Ten more breaths. Last 3 breaths. One more inhale and exhale. Blink the eyes open, looking forward, walk the hands back and sit your chest upright. Slide whatever was underneath your pelvis off to the side and then lean to your left and carefully tuck your right knee behind your left foot. The right toes are kind of pointed. Yeah. And then face forward, hands by your sides, and just attempt to root your right hip down. Just with leaning, just with thinking. So that you still might be carrying most of the weight in your left hip, but you're feeling the stretch in your right side from the outer right hip to the inner right knee. And it's an okay sensation in the knee, unless it's piercing or painful, but it's okay to stretch the knee like this. One more breath in. Out. You're going to lean to your left, unfold your right leg, and find this half dragonfly pose with your right leg straight and your left knee bent. I'm just turning around so I can see you, but you're perfect as you are. Maybe take a blanket underneath your pelvis and then find whatever props you want for the inside of your right leg or the on top of your right leg. And I'm okay usually with my knee here, so I'm not going to put the block there. I'll have it nearby if I'm feeling it, but block or something inside, bolster or something on top, either or. And then turn to your left, a little bit of an open twist. And then reach your right arm inside of the leg or on top of the leg, bend the elbow and hold your head. Left hand is starting on your leg, rooting your left hip down. Yeah, so that you stay in this twist. You stay turned and open to the left. That's what gives you your side body. And then choosing your destiny with what you want to do with the left arm, whether you casually or actively reach it over your head or find it and tuck the hand behind your pants, in your pants, or just hold your hip. Maybe start somewhere and switch it halfway. Close your eyes. Feeling the ring of your rib cage expand and contract. Seeing if there's any place you can let go of tension. I was just noticing it in my right foot, so you don't have to actively flex or point the toes. Relax the right foot and ankle. Maybe in your left fingers you can relax. Another minute and a half. So if you want to change the arms, go ahead. Five more breaths. One more big breath in and out. Eyes blink open. Bring your left hand to your left leg, right by the hip. And then push your left hand down into your left thigh. Push your right hand up into your head and sit up. Turn to face forward. Move your props off to the side and extend both legs out in front of you and shake them out, sitting up nice and tall. And then we're going to fold over these two legs. So maybe sit up on something, gather whatever you want to put in between your legs for your head. I'm going to take something for under my knees as well, just because of that left knee. So I'm just rolling up a second blanket and I'm going to put it under my knees like that. So if you do a lot of props, you can use them. Sitting upright, knees a little bent, even though we're going to fold over the two straight legs. And then I have my feet a little wider than hips distance. It's just because of my belly. I don't know if Ryan and Jenna know, but I'm pregnant. So my feet are wide. And then forehead is going to go on the block. So tip forward, lean forward, any amount. I actually need 2 blocks to start. And then I might go down to 1. And then head down on something. You can hold on to your feet or ankles. You can just let your arms be casual. Let your ankles and feet relax. Simultaneously targeting the bottom of your legs, like the back of your legs, the thighs, what am I trying to say? Hamstrings, calves, and your whole back. So you might feel one or the other. You might feel a nice stretch in both. And even though there's some rounding here in myself and in you guys as well, that's okay. As long as it's not your whole spine rounding. You want still the pelvis to have a little idea of a back bend in your low back. So that's why I'm sitting up on something. So the pelvis tips forward and the low back still has that curve in it, so that then I can round from mostly the upper spine, which has a natural curve that way. And after being here for some time, if you want to bring your head down further, you can.
10 breaths. Last 3. One more inhale and exhale. Slowly look forward. Sit yourself upright, crawling the hands back by your sides. Your eyes can stay a little closed. Just cast down. And then you're going to move everything off to the side, but nearby, and come to lie down on your back. Come to lie down with your feet to the floor and the knees bent. And hands come to the upper thighs, like where the thigh bone meets the pelvis. Just rest them there, not doing anything. Relax the shoulder heads down. Feel the fullness of your back on the mat. And then just inhale, tip your pubic bone forward and feel the low back lift and find like a cow pose. And then exhale, rounding the spine. You lift your sit bones and the whole back, I don't want to say flattens to the mat, but it finds the mat like cat. And then inhale, tip the pubis forward. You're finding your way into this little cow pose back bend. Your spine is lifted. And then exhale like cat. And almost, it's like you're tucking the tail, your sits bones lift, and your spine curves to the floor. Just a couple more like this slowly. One more. And then when you're done, find a neutral place where you kind of do both at the same time. There's the tipping of the pubic bone forward, but then also the lengthening of the tailbone. And that's neutral. So that there is a little bit of a lift in your low back, but it's not like a super arch. And then right leg up. Flex and point the toes and roll out the ankles and cross your right thigh over your left. Yep. And then heel toe your left foot to the right. We're going to come to a twist. Shift your pelvis to the right and let your knees go over to the left. Now you can put your knees up on something, blocks or a bolster. I'm going to have the bolster. And then you can hold your knees in your left arm and open your right arm out. You're twisting. You can look just straight up to the ceiling, or you can look over your right arm and bring the twist all the way around to your cervical spine, but I'm not going to move the head that much, so you can do as much or as little with the head as you want.
And if you don't, in the twist, if you don't like the legs crossed in your twist, you can extend your left leg out. I'm going to do that. I'm going to extend the left leg out, but keep the right knee and chin on the bolster. It's just feeling better. Another minute here. Three breaths. And then after your next exhale, from your pelvis, roll onto your back. Plant both feet to the mat and shift your hips to the center. Hands come to your upper thighs and just be still. Finding right hip, right shoulder, left shoulder. Find your whole back from your right hip to your left shoulder. And then from your left hip to your right shoulder. And then keeping your whole back on the floor, keeping your butt on the floor, take your hands and push your thigh bones forward. Feeling this release in the low back. So your arms almost lock up. There is some effort and strength here. You're pushing your legs forward, but your legs and body don't move. And then release. And we'll twist to the other side. So lift your left leg up, flex and point your toes and roll out the ankle. Cross it over your right side just to transition. Walk your right foot over to the left, shift your hips to the left, and then let your knees fall over to the right. And once they do, then you might decide to straighten your right leg out like I am. And then your knee can stay on the bolster. I lost an AirPod. You can hold your knee in your right hand. And you can open up to the left, looking to the left or looking to the sky. 10 breaths. Last 3. One more breath in and out. Moving from your pelvis, return your feet to the floor, knees bent, hips and whole spine down. Feeling the fullness of your back again, shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip on the mat. And then one more time, hands to your upper thighs. Push the femur bones forward. Feel almost just like the skin of your low back stretching. Everything getting more space. Only effort in your arms. And then release and find your Shavasana. You can extend your legs out. You can put something under your knees. You can bring your feet together, knees apart in Supta Baddha Konasana. You can put a pillow behind your head or a blanket over your body. You can do any and all of these things. And then once you're settled, eyes closed, hands face down on the body or face up on the floor, by your sides or over your head in a big X shape. No manipulation of the breath. Your only requirement is to surrender. Let the body take it all in, the efforts of your practice, that magic sparkling around you from the marriage of effort and grace, of the work you've done. Slowly start to take deeper breaths. Make small movements anywhere in your body, whether it's in your fingers and toes or in your face. Starting to wake yourself back up. You can stretch like it's the morning. You can rock your head side to side, straightening the legs out, pointing the toes forward, pulling yourself apart. And then bend the knees. Plant your feet and roll to your left side, your moon side, your yin side. Letting all of the weight pull over to your left and just resting your ear on a pillow or a bicep. Thanking yourself for taking this time to practice. And as you're ready, use your right palm to press yourself up to sit comfortably, keeping your gaze down, maybe even eyes closed. One hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. Bowing your head down just to feel that connection between the heart beating and the breath and the work you've done, the efforts of your practice and what it holds for you. Open mouth, exhale completely to empty. And then together 2 more times. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest, rise. Open mouth, exhale. One more time. Big breath in. Open, exhale out. Thank you.